Okay, we good? Hello, everyone, and welcome to this bonus surprise episode. Wait. Oh, all right, it's playing. That's how much I screwed it up. Hello, welcome to this bonus episode of Second Sons, this emergency episode. And joining me here at the last possible minute is almost the entire crew, plus a friendly pirate. So I'll go with the friendly pirate, Jesse Carpenter. How are you doing tonight, Jesse?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I enjoyed watching the Avengers all day with my snow day.
That's sweet.
Aaron is also here, but he still does not get to speak even in our bonus episodes. Joining us live from outside WonderCon. How are you doing today, Chris?
I'm doing pretty well. All my stations are set up. I'm ready for some nerds this weekend.
Awesome. And the man who almost made it last night to the episode,
so close,
but prevented us from getting the full crew, is here with us tonight though to talk about the restricted list.
I can't wait. My house is in order. My mind is made up on this list. I'm not sure I'll be agreeing with everybody about it, but we shall see.
All right.
I'm excited to talk about it.
Cool. And then we have Buzz, the Swedish patriot who hates Skype. How are you today, my friend?
I'm good.
All right. So, one quick plug before we get going. If you have trouble with insomnia or sleeping, please tune in after this episode of Second Sons.
Yes.
Watch Buzz stream that pirate game with Jesse Carpenter and Tom Malucci. I know it cured my insomnia last night. But anyway, moving on to real news. The restricted list. We finally got it. It finally happened. Aaron, I am going to open with you. You've been probably the biggest proponent in the community for the restricted list. Like, I think since like the core set, you could only get one core set. You were like, restrict. So how do you feel that Danny has finally listened to your cries and gnashing of teeth?
So I think there's a few important things. Ultimately, I'm happy. I don't think the restricted list honestly does much for most of our tournaments right now. I don't feel like people were going to be going to most like local regionals and playing combo, and that's the only thing that got hit. So that's what is happening in the background.
That's not true, actually. That's not the only thing that got hit.
Okay. Well, we can talk.
We'll get there. The major thing the major thing that got hit is combo, so I don't think it has a huge effect on anything right now. However, that last paragraph of the article could have been written by me. And it's like, hey, by the way, eventually the restricted list is going to be used to do what Glazer keeps saying it should be used to do. So, mentally prepare yourself for that. And that's basically all I ask. I feel like the game's in a good enough place with a giant box coming out. And, Flea Bottom Breaking Ties are going to demand the second set of restricted ship pretty soon. So, this is a good start.
Jesse, what do you think?
I was thoroughly pleased with it. I think that Glazer is right in the aspect that, yes, it just shut down combo and a lot of people aren't going to bring it. But the best part of this is we do not have to now fear it when we're going to these playing fair decks, correct? So we don't have to stuff answers for it. We don't have to do this or that. And it just takes care of what we all thought was just like a huge morale hit post-Canadian Nationals. It made me the happiest I've been with this game in a very long time. Now, I was happy before, but I was very happy to see it. We talked about it pretty much all day as soon as it happened, and I was thoroughly pleased with it.
Chris?
I think I'm pretty much in the same place that Glazer is, and have been for a while now. The one thing I would add is that I appreciate the thoroughness that was used. I'm sure at some point it's going to get brought up like, hey, it's stupid that stuff like Highguard and Minstrel is on there because that seems like overkill. But I'm glad that they kind of took the scorched earth approach, knocked everything down, and then, the restricted list is not set in stone. We can bring those cards back off if they're not a problem later. So hitting every part of the combo that they could, with the possible exception of Hand's Judgment, I think they did a pretty spectacular job of killing that deck specifically, or those decks. And I agree with Aaron that it's a foot in the door toward a real restricted list.
I think they left off a major piece, which I don't want to see as an issue, but leaving off Knight of Flowers was a mistake.
Yeah, that's
wholeheartedly. Fair. Leaving off Knight of Flowers was a big mistake.
Is it my turn? Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna have you go last, but you can go next.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna, just because Jesse kind of just stole my thunder. This restricted list is completely incomplete. Like, I was so mad when I saw this list because there are ways around these restrictions. Yes, you're going to take away some of the consistency, but they didn't kill it. Like, you can still get a ton of gold in marshalling. You can still do the broken Knight of Flowers stuff. You can still play all the events which made you win on that turn. Now, is it going to be as consistent getting them all? Maybe not at first, but people are already posting ways to get around it. Like, you can play some different plots which cut the cost. You can get those cards out of your deck with more draw cards now. Like, they really didn't hurt it. Knight of Flowers is the engine that makes it win, and that's really, or he's the guy that makes it win. I don't agree that the engine is dead. I think the engine is idling, and someone's just gonna reconfigure the puzzle and figure it out.
So what do you do to stop a Nightmares right now? I'm genuinely asking.
You don't. I think I'm actually one of the only people who I think the Hand's Judgment is the correct answer right now. I hope one day it gets pulled off, but the Hand's Judgment is what saved me from not being upset about the Knight of Flowers. And if we would all just play like Alejandro and put in 3 Nightmares in all our decks, we'll be fine forever.
Right.
So what you're saying is people still have to play 3 Nightmares in all their decks, right?
But they're not dead silver bullet cards. You're not running like Fortified Position and Forgotten Plans and 3 Nightmares and 3 Hands Judgments. You know, like, and Ramsey, like, just like literally anything you can slap in your deck to try to get rid of it, right? I mean, I think Hand's Judgment will go off, and maybe Knight of Flowers will go in when we need to restrict other things that, like, where, you know, a real honest deck that needs to be tuned down a little bit, that could play Hand's Judgment, gets on the restricted list. So say like Tywin and Tyrion eventually get added. That's just an example. Like they'll pull Hand's Judgment off and put something else on, so that those honest decks can run Hand's Judgment again. But right now, this is literally. The goal here is to try to ban combo while preserving Alex Hines' champ card, which is like the thing that impressed me the most about this was just how much Danny went out of his way to just not ban Annals and Tana. Like, if he had just done that, like, all of the verbiage of, you know, we need 5 cards, 6 cards, the Knight of Flowers, all that stuff. Like, if you just banned 2 cards, it would have been, I think, much better than this, a little clunky list, but it accomplishes the same thing which people who want to play Alex's card in competitive decks can do it. So
well, I'm not even
win
sure
for the community.
Combo decks need Annals. Like there's some that probably don't need it and can still go off with pretty high level of consistency.
No, wait, hang on.
Buzz, we haven't let Buzz talk yet.
Wait, but Jesse has to answer that because that Jesse knows the answer to whatever the hell Sid just said.
Well,
Jesse, can you rock a combo deck that wins turn 2 or 3 without Annals?
Not turn 2, but turn 3 you can still play Viper and it's fine.
Okay, so I mean,
yeah, the Viper has like events,
but I mean now
and stuff. Different.
Yeah,
the Viper deck also doesn't use Knight of Flowers, right? So that's not even the same argument,
right? I think you still
meddling and playing a ton of events because you've built up for 2 turns to get all the events you need.
I think you can still play ladies. I mean, it's definitely hurt a lot more, but I mean, I would just brought up Knight of Flowers. I just brought up Viper because I think at this time Viper will be the strongest combo deck, even though I think it is incredibly weak. Like, I just am scared of because like, you know, I don't know, but like I'm just scared of the power level that will come if power level like the power creep is just getting stronger and stronger within this game.
No.
I just think sometimes we print cards without limits, and if we don't just, I'm glad that a restrict list happened, but Meddling is a combo card. Like, Meddling is a great card anyways, but Meddling will initiate a combo deck some way or another. It will.
Buzz, last but not least.
This list is shit. I understand that Aaron and Chris are like, okay, we have a restricted list. Let's see what they put on next. But the issue is, when is the next restricted list? Is it the Worlds? Is it in 2 weeks?
No, it's
tell
probably
me.
after
Tell me.
regional season.
Danny,
How
tell
did it
me
happen
when we
at
get
once?
a real restricted list, because this is just oh shit combo fuck. Yeah.
How did the restricted list work in 1.0, Buzz? Like, how often was it updated? Was it set updates?
2 or 3 times a year. You
By
could
season.
you
It was
could
by season.
you could expect it to be at certain points, like a few weeks before Worlds and Stalik, a few weeks before regional season, stuff like that.
And then after Worlds and Stalik usually.
Right.
But there were definitely many points though where people expected one and didn't get one. So.
Yes.
Well, wasn't it almost always by the end, just at the end of each season? Like they were really late. They were really late once or twice because they've always been FFG, right?
But I would have liked them to say, okay, we're gonna update the restricted list at these times, like quarterly, for example.
Oh, you mean
And
give
then-
us a set schedule?
Yeah, give us a set schedule. It will update at this point.
I would love it.
If nothing is
Everyone
added
would.
or removed, okay, fine, it's updated. No
They
problem.
won't even tell us we're getting a Worlds until like a month before.
Right. Yeah.
So
A little bit longer than that.
I feel like that's part of-
Nationals.
I feel like that's part of why they don't communicate, right? Like once they communicate, they've set that expectation that they
The
will
Blizzard attitude, yeah.
that they will do what they are going to say, and then when they don't, it's a problem. So if they just don't tell us anything, it's our own fault for getting our hopes up.
That's fair.
It's,
they're
it's funny
gaslighting
because
us.
you mentioned
Also-
Blizzard, Roy. Because that's they are operating very much like FFG. However, they deliver. We call it Blizzard time because we know in Blizzard time it will be perfect in the end. We're fine waiting because we know the product that we will receive is as good as they can make.
Yes.
FFG, they shit on us and they do this their Blizzard time, and their product is still not up to par to the time spent.
So,
my specific
wait, 1 sec. Buzz, can you get a pic of in the chat, like on screen, Alex Hines saying that the annals can just be banned? Because we know that like at least Evan listens, and then Danny is probably going to listen too, because this is the big restricted list thing.
Did that literally happen?
He
Yeah,
just
he
said,
did say it in
why
the chat,
can't- I
yeah.
mean, why can't it be banned? I mean, it wasn't, but I'm not sure why it can't be. Which means clearly Alex Hines is okay with it being banned, so we might as well just ban it. Can we get that on screen so Danny can see that?
I'm gonna.
I mean,
Lock you
I mean,
in.
yes.
Alex's champ
it
card
has
is
been
the
on
most
screen all the
overpowered
time,
champ
yes.
card in second edition. Like, I mean, Greg's card hasn't been banned yet. Like, this one sparked.
Or first edition is the most
Or-
overpowered champ card in the history of the game.
I mean,
It's not close.
yeah. So Alex did an accomplishment. Even if Alex's card is banned and Danny sends a little, like, every check pack you open, you must burn every copy of Annals of Castle Black that you own. Like, we're just deleting it from the game. Alex will have, like, made AGOT history. So I think he could kind of just, like, take a victory lap forever now with this. Like, he
Yeah.
broke the game with his design. So in a way, the few champs, maybe Louise might be on his way.
I mean, the other fix for his agenda, for his plot, would also be his least favorite thing. I'm sure he'd rather have it banned. It would be errata,
I
right?
know he would. He would much rather have it banned than errated.
Like 3 erratas, like multiple little subtexts and semicolons, and just really,
just
really
send
do the-
Alex an alt art version of Annals of Castle Black with just the errata in there. So, all right. So, why don't we just do a quick poll? So, who does anyone here feel satisfied with this restricted list? Where like this is, maybe not exactly the cards, but just the design goal of this specific restricted list, which was to hit combo, was the appropriate thing. Do any of us sort of accept that as or should Danny have taken this? Like, do we really think it's a missed opportunity? Is more what I'm trying to say, I guess.
No, I accept
No.
it.
No, I
I
fully
think it's
accept it.
imperfect, but not a missed opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, doing a restricted list at this. Sorry, Chris. Go ahead.
That was up. Go ahead.
Oh, so doing this immediately before the Martell box, where breaking ties and flea bottom were the next thing that utterly breaks the game, means that putting a lot on it, like, because we again are pretty clearly assuming that they're not asleep at the trigger, going to get another update relatively soon. At the end of regional season, relatively soon, maybe. But like,
Maybe.
breaking ties and flea bottom are going to have to be broken up, right? Which means
I-
that this will be updated again.
I would really prefer an addition to the list before Gen Con, but I'm pleased that we got one, and in what some would call a timely manner, I would call an untimely manner, because Worlds still did happen. But I am glad that we got one because I was at a certain point just scared we would never see it or it would just take too long. So just seeing that they actively put things on the list and they realize combo's an issue made me happy. I think it is actively way better for the community and a huge morale boost for the community.
It's a Band-Aid. I'm happy to see the Band-Aid, but I want more and I want it soon. And I know I'm not going to get it. And that's this is oh crap. This deck is bad for the game. I mean, the article laid it out, right? It literally alluded to this deck that just won Canadian Nats. So it's like, stop this deck. Okay, I'll stop it now. But this isn't, I don't think this is really what the restricted list people want. I mean, I'll speak for myself. It's not what I wanted. I want more. I want something a little more interesting. So now is it like, okay, done. We did it. We gave them what they wanted. They got their restricted list. Why are they complaining for more? And I realize it sounds like I'm complaining for more, but it's only because this isn't what I wanted. I didn't want to stop a deck. I wanted to create a better environment for deck building overall. So I'm going to keep.
And I want to.
Yeah, and I think that last paragraph leaves it open, but I don't know. I mean, combo's been a problem for a while. This combo got fixed right away. Are we going to have to wait? Do we have to live through a broken kind of season? Lucky for us, this deck didn't take over the entire Store Championship season, right? That's a good thing. But if something else takes over, something from the Martell box takes over regional season, are we going to have to wait till late August before we ever see a change? Is that going to be our summer?
We may have to wait until late August until we see a change because, at least in the United States, there may not be regionals until late August, right? Because the application process closes on Friday, right? Or Monday, one of those days.
No, next Tuesday.
5 days.
Next Tuesday, okay. 5 days, yeah. So who knows? We may not be seeing regionals until far away, and so that basically means that we have Road to Stolic events would be the only sort of hint to see the direction of the meta is going. And we don't know how much Danny or FFG takes unofficial tournaments as a barometer for how the game is doing. Besides Stolic, of course.
We don't know how much,
even though Stolic's not unofficial,
we don't know how much they take official tournaments as a barometer for how the game is going.
They make you report them.
Fair.
I'm in no way saying that regionals aren't important because they definitely are. And I would love to have a healthy regional season, correct? Because that is when you're understanding the meta and getting a feel for it before Gen Con. But I would just love an addition before Gen Con. That is my major focus and major goal. As a community, I think that we would love to have one before we give a card design to Breaking Ties and Flea Bottom. Because if we do not restrict that, that will be in the winning deck. I promise you right now. There's no way it won't be. It's just too busted.
I mean, ideally, I would like them to go back to the 3 seasons, which is sort of before the Store Championship season, before the regional season, and then before Worlds and Stolic. Or before Gen Con and Nationals, and then before Worlds and Stolic. Just some sort of 3 times a year that they come in and they refresh the list. They pull some stuff off. They put some new stuff on. Nate used to just, even if the deck that won Worlds wasn't particularly broken, would just restrict the key cards in the winning Worlds deck just to force the meta to change, right? In towards the end of first edition. So, and the same was true with after Gen Con that Patrick Reynolds won. Which is they just restricted Dragon Pit, and that wasn't a broken deck. It was powerful, but it wasn't broken.
They did not just restrict Dragon Pit.
Yeah, no, they didn't.
Oh, and the Maesters, right?
No, sir. What they really did, what they really got rid of, was our broken Vis attachment deck.
Oh yeah, the Vis. They errated that. They errated the broken Vis attachment deck. That's a combo deck that you can really.
So do we? Even if they don't take that route and use it as a, well, this isn't broken, we just want to shift the meta. I think the idea of regular updates would be optimal, where, if they put out an FAQ that doesn't change the restricted list at all, add some, new red text in other areas, we answered this question for you. I think Colin Weir was talking about it in one of the Facebook posts about that idea that they could add, some important rules questions that have come up, just to let us know that, hey, we have this document. We know that it's a living document. We know that you're interested in knowing whether it's changing or not. It's not changing right now. At least we would have that as an answer each season. So I think that would be great, and I hope that Danny would agree with that, and we'll continue with that.
It seems like Netrunner gets pretty regular updates to its, what is it?
Most wanted list.
Most wanted list. Just
So as Sid so eloquently put it, if this is just a Band-Aid, and I think that's what we all see it as, just to stop combo in its tracks, do we think that we were forced into it because this came up, that it will one day get to the point where the restricted list is just to shake up the meta? Like, do we think that's where it's going to go from here?
So the very last sentence, and I want to read it, which is, or they may aim for more general improvements to the metagame, whether by restricting key cards from faction that grow disproportionately powerful, or restricting ubiquitous neutral cards, fleet bottom, to promote more deck building and metagame variety. It is outright saying that this is what we are going to do. This is going to be for a healthier meta.
At least that what they're willing to do. We'll see how often they actually choose to use it.
Whether it's often or not. So this becomes a slippery slope, right? In the best way possible, like skiing. Even if the first couple updates are just taking care of things, it becomes a meta update relatively quickly at that point.
Sure.
Relatively quickly might mean a year, but
that's what I'm saying. I feel like the restricted list is going to get to a point where it's like, oh, we're done fixing issues. Oh, we can actually look at the metagame and what we can shake up, and hopefully we get to that point, and then it's just literally to shape the meta into something different and more unique and interesting. I hope.
Well, where's all that input coming from? Is it just coming from Danny's personal kind of examination? I mean, like you said, where are they getting their results from it? Where's the data coming from? Is it just whoever's yelling loudest? How does this thing get curated?
Sid, we never knew that in first edition.
Yeah, but I don't know.
What makes this different? Because this is how it started in first edition, right? There was a couple dumb bullshit combos. Wasn't it just
not
those,
just a couple? There were a lot.
No, the first restricted list wasn't to break up combos in first edition.
Yeah,
the first restricted
ban
list
was
Lannister was broken as hell.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a ban list, and the reason why the restricted list was created was because Nate didn't want a ban list anymore?
It wasn't a combo issue either, though. The ban list was the ban list was, and the North agendas.
Yeah, it was just some broken shit. So
what's interesting to me is that this is further down the road, but I will be interested to see how, if at all, rotation and the ban list or the restricted list kind of interact with each other, and whether that prompts more regular updates or maybe prompts fewer regular updates because they're taking stuff out of the meta naturally.
We're
Alex
still
says the first.
We're still quite
I
a
don't
ways
think
away.
so.
Like I said, that's
Right. So
not
hang
the
on.
near
Let me
future.
ask
the
you a
first
question.
restriction list, we have it wrong. We have it wrong. According to Alex, and I'm just going to assume he's right because this is the kind of thing he's almost never wrong about. The first restricted list was the house-specific plots in first edition, and only.
I don't believe that's true.
Really? Yeah, you were there.
I'm pretty sure that. Well, I wasn't there for that, so Alex might be right, but I'm pretty sure that I recall that from when I joined, I was told by several people that the first restricted list was the Lannister and Neil stuff. So it was like Castellan and
Sid would know. Sid was there.
Whatever was out at the time.
I think it might be both, actually. I think you might both be right, but I would have to go back and actually look at the original document somewhere to be sure. But I think you might both be right. I think it might have been Lannister stuff and the plots. Still, the house plots fall under that ubiquity category, though, because they were overstated for first edition. So they were, and if especially the ones that hit a popular house at the time, they would just go in every deck of that house. So those plots were CCG cards that got ported in. So it's why they didn't fit. They didn't work. They were too way too good.
A blank 571 now, I would play it. I play Varys Riddle. I would play blank Varys Riddle in Martell. No problem.
I definitely played blank Varys Riddle in decks because
5/7/1s with discard a character when you win a challenge, kill characters when you win. It was nuts.
Just since we mentioned it a while ago, from a 2.0 player, it didn't even happen 1.0, so I don't know why I said that. But can I get a good idea about rotation? So rotation will hit the day the first pack of the 7th cycle hits. Is that correct?
And they get 2 cycles. 2 cycles go.
Correct,
Cycles
yes.
1 and 2 go together.
And
then it's one cycle every cycle.
The 8th cycle, not the 7th, I believe. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
it is the 8th.
So when the first pack of the 8th cycle comes out, the entirety of the first and second cycles will rotate out and be.
Wait, no,
and then is it the first pack of the 9th, then the 3rd goes, or is it the first pack of the 10th?
No,
and the 3rd, 4th goes.
Whenever we have, somebody should bring up the graphic, but I'm pretty sure it's every 2 that we get. The 3rd one after that, so we'll get 8 and 9, and then the 10th will kick out 2 more.
Can I just?
There's a certain amount that are legal at a given time.
I thought it was every cycle. So once they drop the 2, every time a cycle finishes and a new cycle starts, they kick out the bottom.
I think it's cycle. 2 and 2, but I could be wrong. I'm on my phone, so I can't look it up.
Do they rotate in pairs? Okay.
Yeah.
I know that they're designed in pairs now.
And Nightmares, let the first 2 go. I'm ready for them to go like now. Make Valor and Nightmares evergreen, and then say bye.
Okay.
And
the Hound. But the Hound. Yeah, I don't want to lose the Hound.
So they're blocks now. So basically, cycles are blocks now, is what we're.
Yes.
And will they? And do they re-release cards?
Of Bestow, etc.
We don't know. It's never happened.
So they did in Netrunner in their new core set. They definitely released some stuff, and that was at least partially because of rotation. So I think it's certainly something we could see. It's not impossible if it's just a card that's good for the meta to have, that they could re-release it.
I feel like the game would be trash without Valor, honestly.
They did it in the CCG also. When stuff rotated, they would print. They had like individual packs with a stack of cards to bring certain ones back in, like Paper Shield and other kind of easy cancels. So it's something they've done before.
I would not be surprised if we went a whole block without Valor again. If Valor Morghulis, if after it rotates, I wouldn't be so. I mean, so that means we'd see it like cycle 12 or something, because Danny.
It's very likely we get multiple other resets between now and then, though. I mean,
yeah, because I think Danny will want to explore the design space of not having Valor Morghulis and what resets he can print, and then bring it back in if he feels like he needs to, or players just whine like we did.
That sounds depressing.
Valor's an important meta check. Like both Valor.
I agree. Like, I'm pro Valor Morghulis. I'm just saying, based on past history, I would expect that we're going to spend some time without Valor again.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
So, just like I don't think we'll see Nightmares come back right away. We might see a similar effect. And then we get the open question of like whether FFG or the community wants us to support evergreen events, but this is so far in the future.
What does Calandro do when Nightmares rotates out?
His decks are all going to be 3 cards short.
Well, that's the only way I could beat him, so that'd be fine.
Well, which cycle was Nightmares in?
Cycle 1. Cycle 1, like middle of the
first
cycle?
or second pack.
That was a little later than that, Buzz, wasn't it? Like in the middle of the cycle?
Yeah.
And combo returns at rotation.
First cycle.
It's first cycle like pack 3 or 4, though, right? Because I remember it came pretty late. So it was only so good in the first cycle that you only run 2 in the World Championship deck. So
yeah, that's true.
Pack 5.
That's true.
Yep.
Pack 5, yeah. So even later than I thought. So yeah, I think. Is there anything people want to add about the restricted list here? Like,
we said it hit another deck, and we never got to that.
Oh yeah, what was this other deck that it hits?
Greyjoy Reigns.
Greyjoy Reigns.
The fact that it hits Wheels and Hand's Judgment hits Reigns decks annoyingly
some Reigns
as a side effect.
Also hits one of the new style of Targ that's been played here in Europe at least with
the Hand's Judgment Annals deck.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that's even worse.
But that's
with,
okay with Danny coming out. Like,
Malucci was the first. Malucci was the
I'm
first person to tell me about it.
I'm very happy that it's quite degenerate to play against, but I mean, it does hit it.
And Greyjoy still has Asha, so I don't feel as bad for them.
No,
they still get to dig for a lot of cards without Wheels, right?
They'll find another scheme. I hear there's another good scheme coming out in the box that you know
can sack your Asha to bounce the wall and stuff. It's so good.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. Although I guess Greyjoy doesn't have very many cheap loyal characters, do they?
Yeah. Also, it won't matter because I won't be playing Greyjoy when the box comes out.
Right.
He's gonna
as someone who's played a lot of Greyjoy Reigns, without combo out there, like, is it really that great? With Asha as strong as she is, like, do you even need Wheels anymore, honestly?
No.
I mean, I didn't play Wheels for combo. I played it just because all the events in the deck are great. Like,
right. Because you could Asha and then find another one, right? It's just another way to dig.
I was
so
like I was cutting it for Spider's Web.
I've definitely cut it before. Like so my take on Reigns is that there's 3 great schemes, and then the other ones are like, what are the least bad schemes at this point? So
we're getting a 4th good schemes. Got those are great schemes. So.
Everything runs Riddle.
Riddle
and blah. Riddle stand.
Riddle stand Neil.
Yeah.
Yep.
Red Wedding's good.
Red Wedding's fine. It's one of the ones that's on my list of sometimes the least bad.
Game of Thrones can really roll people. I have won many games because Game of Thrones.
I'm a large fan of Red Wedding and Spider's Web.
Yeah,
Very
Spider's
large.
Web is
Spider's Web
a little
doesn't work
stronger
great for
out of
Greyjoy,
other
but
houses. Yeah.
For the other ones, yeah.
Lannister, ooh, hot stuff.
It's sweet
Hot
and Lannister for sure.
Oh yeah, the Lannister scheme is a good one.
I mean,
Lannister
so
also
does,
has an extra good scheme, which is a solid point. Like,
so does Terrell
Terrell, yep.
Yeah.
Terrell can run Riddle and
pulling.
the string. All
the copy.
Oh god, it's pretty good.
You're upsetting Matt Roy.
Matt can shut up. All right, but we do want Sandy, who's too busy playing board games, to join us tonight. Has a question. He says that Danny's intent is clearly not to bother with Flea Bottom because it's fine. He says that this is sort of he's doing a victory dance in the chat. You can see him going, oh, that since they didn't hit Flea Bottom, he's right and we're all wrong. What do you guys think?
Mm-hmm. I think where it says or restricting ubiquitous neutral cards from more deck building and metagame variety is pretty clearly a shot at Flea Bottom. But sure,
we'll see.
The problem is, and actually this was like there was a lot of chatter about this in the Facebook group today. The problem is you cannot just restrict Flea Bottom by itself. It doesn't do anything. You have to restrict cards that it is affected by. Or I did see Johannes had an interesting idea where you restrict other cards that go in Flea Bottom decks. Like you could restrict Flea Bottom and Consuming Flames was his idea to kind of make Targ make a tough decision as to which way it's going. I don't know if Consuming Flames is the right card in that situation, but that idea is interesting to me. I like Flea Bottom Plaza as a pair.
If you
I can see that.
Wars to Come put the
Ariane.
They put like Flea Bottom Hota, blah blah blah, stuff like that as suggestions. But then you still have Dornish or you still have X or Y.
If you hit all the characters that Flea Bottom hits, it's going to be a 20 card restricted list.
Yeah, you don't do that. You would restrict.
And then you can't run like Dornish Spy and Arya Hota in a deck that's not running Flea Bottom, right?
Yeah, but hang on. But you would still run Ariane. You would make it Ariane at that point. You would make it like
exactly.
Whatever. Yeah, that's the best way to do it. And then you just hit enough good shit that like it becomes a real choice. Flea Bottom will still go in some decks, and then for Snow matters a little more, and we have a bunch of different.
It's like when Neutral Harrenhal got hit. Like it was sometimes a choice, but there were powerful cards for every house on there. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's almost like the second
Stark.
they do this, they've done
had
exactly what we want, right? Stark had 2 restricted cards. You're completely wrong.
What? Mirror Read and
No Quarter.
No Quarter? Well, it got restricted towards the end, didn't it?
Yeah, No Quarter was fucking
I forgot.
a real choice.
Primary.
And their zero cost carrier guy.
And
right?
their
What's his name?
No, he can't. He was
Northern
off last time I
Refuge
was
got
playing.
restricted.
But
At one
Refuge
time,
was
yeah.
off. But we're back in 1.0. And so
I mean,
Jesse, do you think that Wars to Come's episode on Monday is what caused the restricted list to happen? It was timely, man. It was timely.
I think it was good timing, but I don't think that we pushed it over the hedge. For some reason, I don't feel that Danny's tuning in on Monday and Wednesday nights for us. It would be great, but I don't see him active in the chat.
Oh, he's here, all but guaranteed. Hi, Danny.
I think it was good timing, but I think we just snuck it in on Monday because we thought it would happen as well. Also, Wednesday nights in Indianapolis are retro movie night, so Chris wouldn't record on Wednesday, I believe, because it was a good movie night. So we had to move it up to Monday.
Can we just trade you for Sandy? Let Sandy be on the Wars to Come.
I'm into that trade.
No, I don't think it will work that way. Who's going to host on Wars to Come? Not Sandy.
Oh, who cares? It's not our problem. The podcast sucks anyway.
This is a sabotage right now. This is the stick
Well, as
up.
Aaron said, we're not. It's not that we're interesting; it's that everyone else is uninteresting. So, which is,
Alejandro is super interesting.
I agree, Alejandro.
And all the
but,
washout guys are always interesting that I bring on.
That
every
was a
week.
good episode. It was a really good episode.
It
I
was a
enjoyed
good episode.
watching it.
You do have the inside track on getting Wasa guests. That's pretty nice.
It's true.
That's why we need you over here to get that set list.
We had
Yeah,
Kid
Jay.
once. It
You
was.
just have to ask them. They're always willing. You just
I
ask
know.
them.
We almost had Sam on once, but then the episode scheduling fell apart. So
You want to keep him desperate though. You keep him.
You can avoid kids curling season and like Sam and them playing darts at the Dom, then they'll listen.
Kids curling.
and
Dart
mowing
night,
his
can you
lawn.
do
That's
it?
the other thing Kid does. He curls and he mows his lawn. So as
Just
long as
mow
you
his
can
lawn.
find him in between those things.
And
such a
probably
mess.
drinks
Yeah, I love
copiously, but he can do that while he's on the podcast.
Yeah. So, do you think the Twitch experience of the podcast is way better than the Skype experience? Oh, go fuck yourself, Sandy.
I mean, that's the worst to come, Sandy's Barnabas.
That's right.
All right,
Did
let's
he buy
bring
a
this
t-shirt,
around
Jesse?
in jokes.
What's up?
Did he buy a T-shirt? Because he's going to need one. Although the fact that Wars to Come
Sandy, yeah, he
beat us
did.
to T-shirts is kind of embarrassing.
So,
we
Sid,
are,
do we
we
want
are
to do
extremely lazy.
over unders on when we'll see the next restricted list? Will we
Let's
see
do it. What's
All
our
right. The date would be before. Do we want to do before Gen Con or before Worlds?
You set the line. We tell you if it's over or under. That's how this
When
works.
it's Gen Con?
Gen Con is in
August 17th
August.
to the 20th. Oh no, August 2nd to the 5th. I'm sorry.
What
Yeah,
what
it's really
date?
early.
What date does regional season end?
August. I think
Yeah,
July.
August 16th.
Oh, it's even later than that this year. Yeah.
Yeah,
Something like
because
So it's-
there is
it
you can
ends
apply
before
for
Gen Con.
regionals on Gen Con Day.
I mean, I think it's very telling that Danny dropped this restricted list to go legal the day after Store Championship season ends. So, I mean, my bet is the day after regional season ends will be the very soonest.
How about
we get
this?
any-
The Gen Con. It will be Gen Con. Will be the over under there. So either before Gen Con or after Gen Con.
All right, that's that reason. Before Gen Con.
Okay.
I agree before, and I think that the timing was more convenient than anything else. I don't think it was I don't think it was intended as, oh, Store Championship season is over. Let's drop this.
So
So Chris, you said before Gen Con or after? I'm sorry.
I agree with Aaron before.
All right, before.
I think
Buzz.
before.
Oh, okay.
But
So
I'm
we got
nervous.
three
I'm
befores, eh?
hoping for before, but I'm
Right.
picking after. I'm picking
Alright,
before
after.
Worlds. Yeah.
for Buzz. Jesse.
blind optimism, baby. I'm going before.
And I'm gonna go with Buzz and say after.
I mean, if it's after, I'm right. I mean, it's before, I'm happy. So it's
There you
all
go.
good.
There you go.
Either way.
Okay.
So I've written it down. So most people are optimists here, but I feel like the Second Son cynicism about FFG will kick back in by the next episode, and we'll be
We'll
like,
see.
Oh no!
Oh my
FFG
God,
is
it's
still
never gonna-
terrible.
it's never gonna be changed.
FFG
So-
is still terrible. Like they did one thing right, and
But
they
OP
still
is the
only did
terriblest.
yeah, and they still
Yeah,
only
yeah.
did it half right, right? Like
Absolutely. Like, in fairness, like, there's different scales of terrible based on what area of FFG you're talking about. Like, some areas are just a flat 0, some are like a 2, some are a 5. Like,
And in fairness, I genuinely don't think Danny's terrible. I think
no, certainly
Danny
not. I
is.
agree.
I think Danny
Danny's
has
like a
done it
7 or 8. at least.
actively awesome job. I think if he didn't love passive power so much, like he'd be far and away the best designer this game's
So
had.
Oh yeah,
90% of Danny, I thoroughly love and enjoy.
And then
It's
passive
the
power.
10% where I see cards and I'm like, why the fuck is this a card?
we
Like,
talked.
Danny's
why
a
is this a
degenerate
card
Magic
game?
player at heart, man. Like he loves
Right.
the uninteractive Magic shit, and he's just porting it all over into
He
other
doesn't
games.
think it's good for the game. He finds combo super funny. When he was sitting beside me at the Melee final table and he was watching the Corpse Lake nonsense, he was laughing. Like he was visibly laughing.
Oh,
He
God.
thinks it's funny. He just doesn't think it's good for the game, which I guess in a designer we want. I just wish he would consider that before printing the cards.
Right.
So
So what if this pushes Targ down and Greyjoy down as we're saying, Does the meta just become all orange all the time?
To be clear, I don't think this pushes Greyjoy significantly that far down. I think it's already pretty far down outside of Reigns, so I don't think it does a lot to Greyjoy in general.
I disagree with both statements. I don't think it touches Greyjoy. And I also think that Greyjoy will be just fine with Reigns and Drowned God after this next pack.
Sure, I've only been playing them in a war meta though for like 6 months now. So in a war meta, they're bad.
And the new Danny will keep Martell in check.
Yeah,
I think so.
maybe.
I do, absolutely.
So is it just red and orange cards?
Yeah, that's the issue, though. What happens if it's only those two decks that can exist?
What about my white cards, man? What about my...
Well, I'm of the belief, and I'm not just saying this because I'm the king.
I'll save you from Danny.
I legitimately think Bear has a lot of natural answers for the Tier 1 meta decks.
I don't think Bear can beat Martell.
What? That's such a good matchup. They shit on Martell all day long.
Wait. Buzz, after the box, though?
Yes.
After the box?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever lost with Martell to Bear.
I think the problem we may run into is that
you're not a bad player, and you play good decks, and you play against shitty players. So
I played the shit out of. I played just Dark Nudge a lot. Like I haven't played anyone who plays.
I mean,
Dark Nudge
is not a magical player. He's an excellent deck builder.
I think he's a great player as well.
He's also.
I love this. We're slinging it. We're slinging it here on this little episode.
I think my point is the point I want to say though is my big fear is that it's going to become like this, which is there are decks that can beat Martell, and then there are decks that can beat Targaryen, but there are not decks that can beat both Martell and Targaryen consistently. So the presence of those as the two best decks will push everything out because your first round might be against Martell, and you're like, oh, okay, I beat Martell, and then you go Targ. And then Martell and and just pushes you out, or the vice versa.
I am being dead serious, and I am not just saying this. Drowned God crushes both those decks. With Asha, you can boost her strength. She's immune to events with Drowned God's Blessing, and passive power just crushes Martell. Yeah. And it crushes Martell and Targ. Like they can't do anything about passive power.
I think Tyrell is pretty well positioned.
Yeah,
too.
How does Tyrell fare against Martell? Is the real question because hey man, HFK is real bad for Danny.
Yes. I think the meta is fine even with the power level of this box. I really do. I truly do. I think that Lannister is in a really rough spot. I think that Night's Watch is in a real bad spot after this.
Someone just said it. Drowned God is the new Klansman.
Don't validate Sandy's opinion. Don't validate Sandy's opinion. He can find the time to be in Twitch chat, but not in the actual episode.
Sandy is wrong about everything. But
this is my favorite thing Sandy's ever
Jesse
said.
does need to prove it now. Jesse needs to prove his bold statements now. He's gonna have to do something with Drowned God. He's got to.
Oh, I would not doubt.
I'm sure I'll do fine with it in regional season.
I'll probably.
It's a good deck.
Regional season too.
Passive power is good in this game. If you can survive the rush, if Targ Martell can knock out the rush for me, Drowned God is just fine, baby. So I think that everyone's fine except Lannister, Night's Watch, and Stark. They're all screwed. They're all screwed.
You don't think Night's Watch still has some decent banner options? Like
Night's Watch will be fine when Rots breaks his champ card.
Yeah, right.
Night's Watch Wildlings will be really good, but a lot of people just won't be able to pilot it. But
wall decks, Cold Hands do. Will they fix
Cold Hands?
Cold Hands is going to be sweet.
I just think when I say Night's Watch, I apologize. Wall decks and builders will die.
Yeah. A+. Best thing LGB did.
I think that the wall will survive in Martell though. I would bet on it.
Like Martell Watch. What about that Night's Watch Sun you've always wanted to happen, Roy? Is it going to happen?
No, because maybe with Sam Bratz to sort of pin the breaking ties early, and then you're like,
That's a fun play. Make them flip breaking ties when they don't have any loyals out.
It's a fun play for me, not for that person who put that broken pot in their deck.
Literally, my favorite combo with Bratz's card isn't even good. I just cannot wait to White Shadows into Valor. It literally makes me laugh every time. It is
That
hilarious.
is not the best use of that card.
It's just funny.
He's good at that.
It's
But
I
hilarious.
feel
It is
like
great.
there's a part of me that feels like Sam got that card printed because it says like Sam wins all games Sam is playing, and the rest of us can figure out fun interactions.
Yeah,
It's
once
so-
the most powerful thing about that card is look at your opponent's plot deck. That is the most powerful part of that entire card. I don't care what I flip. I just looked at them all. It's like, got it. Like that's why it's so good. That's why Sam printed it. Everything else is just icing. He doesn't care what the rest does.
No,
I know your plot.
the real best part of it is like at war when we asked Sam about it and he just started giggling uncontrollably. Like, cause he's like, I have no idea how this got printed either, and all his friends are just like head in hand, like, like this is such a mistake.
The only tragedy about Sam's card is it doesn't look like Sam. Like,
Yeah.
The only tragedy is we're going to be doing a podcast in 6 months having the flea bottom and annals conversation about Sam's card. And
I don't
That
even think
long?
it's gonna take 6
That
months.
long
It's
away?
gonna be like someone's gonna win a regional with it, and they're gonna be like, Sam.
Ryan Leonard.
Luckily,
won a
Sam has
regional
another
with
card to get his art printed, right?
so while
Yeah.
while Jonesy's here, thanks for having champ cards in second edition that don't break the game. Someone has to.
Dark Notch.
No, Dark Notch just broke his heart.
So I must say, I'm still waiting for
Oh.
my first game against the Faceless Man. Like it still hasn't happened.
I played
played it.
Faceless Man
Maybe they're being
and
played
other
Guns
places,
at
But I haven't
at
seen them
Starlight.
yet. Like I haven't seen them across from me yet. I haven't.
They're
I've played
so
with them.
good.
I've done it because I like
I-
it. I've never played against
Whenever you want to play on the Iron Throne, you let me know.
It's
I
pretty
love
good
Faceless
at
Man.
Put in a
it's
few
pretty good at
balls.
Jesse's
Yeah,
Night's
I'm on
Watch
throw a lot, and I've seen it.
Valor into White Shadows deck. There you go.
Right.
Yeah, I wish the card was a little more seen, but maybe it's just my circles. But I don't see.
I think it
much.
will find its place. I think it will find its place.
It's evergreen. It'll eventually find its way somewhere.
Even Ryan says in the chat, Faceless Man a little weak. Maybe when we get some more kind of trait
Rivals.
stuff happening, maybe we'll
No,
get.
I think what's really holding it back more than anything else is the speed of the game right now, because it's a much better mid game card than it is early game card, and we still have a lot of rush and combo and bullshit in the meta where like if you draw that early, you just want to cry, right? Like
Sure.
Yeah.
if it's amazing once like I guess because of its it won't work. Damn it! I really love the new Martell jumper lady, but
Yeah.
like if she worked with that would be amazing. But that kind of thing is where it's at.
Just rushes everywhere. I really like Faceless Men in a version of Stark Reigns, like Bratzus Reigns, like with Direwolves. Like mid game, if you can have a Direwolf with ambush that you can give whatever icon, it's very cool.
Man, there's a location that gives all the direwolves ambush.
All right, now we're a cat podcast.
Yay!
We're a what?
It's a-
buddy?
A cat podcast.
Oh,
She's
Roy's
upset
picture.
that I was doing that to her too. Come on, Aaron, get off the. Yeah. I don't know. No one's gonna play Wolfwood, Aaron.
HRD Wolfwood.
I played against somebody doing that today, and I beat them.
That'd be
If you lost, you would be kicked to wars to come with Sandy. So that's good.
They
We
had a
accept
good jump on me. They had winter coming back to back. I still won.
Yeah, I bet.
All right, homies. Is there anything else on the agenda? What do
I
we got?
don't think so. I mean, we just
No.
did an episode the other night. I know Sid doesn't know because he wasn't on the episode, but we did do one. Does anyone have anything else? Any final thoughts on the restricted list before we sort of sign off? Are we any questions from chat about the restricted list before we sign off?
There were a
Let's
couple
give-
questions on the post, right? I don't know if we care about getting to those.
Yeah, we
Sure,
should.
but we can do it. Yeah, I got time.
Yeah, I got nowhere to be. I got a tour to
Everybody
live.
got him?
I have dinner in 8 minutes, but I'll stick around.
Does anyone have those
My friend.
questions though? Is the real?
I am. Where's our post? I'm on Facebook.
It was Roy's post to the
Wow.
group. I don't
Aaron's
think
on
there were
Facebook?
questions on the second son's post.
So
I
it's
think,
just
that, I think
Agot
Trey
second edition.
and a
right?
couple other people posted
Oh,
in
that's
reply
right.
to Roy's.
I'll be right back.
Share
I
to
gotta
the
grab
group.
something.
All right, buddy.
I'm on the Agot second edition board, and now I have to just look for Roy's giant head, right?
You can just like search for Roy.
Oh wait, no, maybe it was on our post because the the Roy's post turned into a bunch of memes about how Roy looked in the video.
Phenomenal.
I found Roy's giant head. Perhaps. Blah. A second sentence is not a question. Buzz Hannon.
No.
Yeah, that one might be memes. It might be on the second son's post. I might be wrong.
Yeah, this one seems to have nothing. Yep.
It could just be the general restricted list quest.
I don't remember.
Cameron Davidson actually had a question. Oh, we already talked about.
I've got a Fred Bird question. No,
Okay, there you go.
Fred's a good dude, most liberal man in the world. All right. How do you feel about multiple lists which apply separately? For example, you can play Tane and Enhanced Judgment, but not Annals Untamed or Annals Enhanced.
Oh,
yeah,
odd.
that's been floated. That was floated in first edition several times. I think it overly complicates things. I think Nate had it suggested to him several times and specifically shot it down for that reason. That like like Fred said, but sometimes in first edition people wanted a plot restricted list and a main deck restricted list or something like that. But I think 2 lists is just too much.
Yeah.
It asks too much of the casuals.
It would get very convoluted,
diagram
right?
to try and figure out what you can put in your deck and what you can't.
Yeah.
It's too much.
It's too convoluted.
So this one is for Jesse. Is Ladies dead? I'm gonna go one at a time. Is Ladies dead?
Yes.
Okay. Is Hyper Viper dead?
Somewhat.
Not really.
It's very
no.
weak. It's fragile, but
Yes.
no.
I mean, it gets an event cancel real soon too.
Yes, exactly.
It's probably the most consistent, right, out of all
Yes.
the combos now.
Right now.
Yeah.
Is Wonder Woman dead?
Yes.
Yes.
Tana going is kind of like
Tana's big.
Tana hurts so bad.
Yes.
Is Brienne dead?
yes.
Yes.
Okay, that was Trey's question. So Hyper Viper exists, the others die.
As
It's
much as I hate it,
but I mean, how
I do have a mind
so
for
fragile.
combo.
Yeah, there's one more question besides the memes. Cameron wants to talk about Flea Bottom. I feel
already
like we
did
did.
Yeah, we did.
But
did,
but I just want the specific question answered, just so we can say it was. Does it require immediate attention? And
Flea
if
bottom?
so, what is the solution? So I don't
I-
think it requires attention until next week.
I do not
Yeah.
believe that Flea
That's
Bottom is
immediate,
a
right?
problem without breaking ties. I feel that its power level is insanely high, but I feel once breaking ties comes out, it will just be an issue. It can just swing games too easily.
It's
Do we
it's
think
the
that there's
most
going to be a
powerful-
lot of Flea Bottom Breaking Ties wars where you play Breaking Ties, bounce their Flea Bottom, then they have to remarshal their Flea Bottom, the next turn they Breaking Ties you, bounce your Flea Bottom, things like that. Like,
I feel like that's usually going to be a poor use of it.
Yeah, if they bounce my 1 cost location, unless it's like a game swinging turn,
Right.
ready to Flea Bottom someone, then I think it's a very poor use of the application. But I do think that it will be I think there will be very competitive games that will just be who hits the bigger targets, like who swings the tempo of the game harder with breaking ties, and when you
Sure.
play it and how you play it. I do wholeheartedly believe that.
We had a conversation with Alejandro earlier. Who knew? I'm trying to figure out where the other questions would be.
Jesse's Wars to Come channel host and colleague believes that Wonder Woman is the strongest combo deck now, which I think the losing the event the draw from
Tana and Banner Wolf.
Tana.
I mean, like Tana's dead, and Banner Wolf being everywhere hurts Wonder Woman
And I mean,
significantly.
this comes from the guy that we rated the lowest. Wars to Come. So, I mean,
He's
this
just
is
a
how you
very
know
good
Buzz
dude.
is playing again. He's throwing shade at people.
But there's no reason to ever play Wonder Woman if Landing Crossing exists, and it still does.
That is fairly accurate. Yeah.
Landing
Yeah.
Crossing can win on turn 2, like 60% of the time, and then turn 3 almost every time, or you lose. So
Here's a question that I have. Which deck do you think will be able to create like the nearly all loyal deck to kind of just dodge breaking ties? Like,
Stark.
is there which house is best able to do it? Like, does
Stark.
that give Stark a little bit of a bump here? Can they go anti-breaking ties and play breaking ties obviously because they're going to have a ton of loyal people?
I mean, it makes like it probably gives Kid or Bratz another champ card. I don't think it just helps Stark in general. Like, I'm not sure.
Does Stark have any cheap foils to use it with, though?
Summer. Summer's pretty good because you want Summer to.
Summer is
good
real
for the
good
recursion
going
part,
in
but it's
there.
not cheap. Like,
Stark does not.
3, but then you
Stark
flea
does
bottom
not
it in.
have cheap- Stark
What's
doesn't
that?
have cheap loyal low costers really, right? They only have 2, and they're both
Right,
unique.
right.
Like you really want unique. 3, I guess. Sansa.
Hodor, Sansa.
No, it's Night's Watch. We did this already. It's Night's Watch, Terrell, and Martell.
The 2-drop Sansa is a fine
and
target.
Yeah. It's
And
just that's only
Hodor and
Summer. 3 cards.
I mean, Summer.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
3.
Summer's nuts.
Summer is the nuts, though, and you can go look for it. You can go look for it twice.
Thanks, Kid
Well,
Plot.
Wolf Dreams as well. So,
Kid Plot's insane.
Yeah, Kid Plot is
so
broken.
I actually think, though, to go back specific loyal cards to avoid. I think Tyrell is actually in a pretty good shape. I mean, Randall is the big one that can be hit, but Mace, Highgarden, Marjorie, like Hightower, yeah. And Bitterbridge. Bitterbridge is loyal. Like just like most of the good package that Tyrell is using to win games right now is immune to it. Yeah, your Randall's going to get popped, but
yeah, I mean
you have other sources of renown.
A big
kills Knights.
A good thing for Tyrell is if they only can bounce Randall, for example, you can play around it. But if they can bounce any character, then it's hard to to play around, right? Like Gas and Grain First Edition was, you can bounce anything whenever you want. I'm fucked.
And Gas and Grain in First Edition was just, ugh. It was no, I know what the text was, sir. Gas and Grain First Edition was just insanely strong at all times. Like you had to build your whole deck around it, and I don't feel like Martell and Night's Watch at the very least have to build their deck doing anything special in order to make Breaking Ties good.
Right. I think Breaking Ties is insane out of Targaryen, but
like, what do they use besides Viz?
Either Viserys, actually. I actually think we will see a return of King Viserys with the King plot out now.
Yes,
returns. When was he there before?
Oh, well,
the entrance.
Here's the thing, Shonthal. I used to have this sick brew that I would like with Targ's son, where I would just with King Viserys and Dornish Paramore just bringing people into challenges.
It was the original Klansman, Chris. The original Klansman.
Mono bring guys in deck.
You can add
a game online the other week to a Targ crossing that flopped King Vis and opened the King plot.
Good for them, dude. I bet that guy was cool.
Probably.
So I wish the King plot was just the King plot without the King interaction. Like I feel like it would be a more interesting.
Just straight burning bridges.
Yeah, I think it'd be better as burning bridges.
I agree.
Because instead of being oh, guess what? I found a King plot. It would be it would actually require you to build and counterplay more.
Right. Says you have to have your board set for it, etc.
Yeah.
It says the Martell player. I love it, Roy.
Okay, Night's Watch player. Good luck.
I agree. The same but. Let's see. Anything else in the chat here? Sandy was rambling about something.
No one cares.
So no is the answer.
So no is the answer. All right.
Wait, the King Buzz. Why would you post that in the chat and not say you're posting? Okay.
What Buzz?
He posted the full list of interactable cards.
Okay.
Yeah. For what?
For Flea Bottom Breaking Ties.
I mean. I posted
there is nobody in Barra. Moon Boy is really the only
Moon Boy.
Greyjoy is not running that shit either.
So Barra Lannister can run awesome cards like Cersei's Attendant.
I still think Lannisport Guard's a good card.
Lannisport Guard is pretty good too. Yeah.
Lannisport Guard's good. They're running Pacell, and
I love Queen's
Assassins has always been good.
Lannister's better off than I thought they were, actually. Yeah, it's not as bad as
Stark's got a really good Baron. Well, no one's gonna play Baron Legolas, but New Brand, okay, Hodor, Sansa, Summer. Okay, that's pretty good.
New Brand. Yeah, I like sacrificing my direwolf brand to help somebody.
Hey,
Well, when you can
be
flea
a
bottom
play,
right
man.
back. When
Okay,
you can
use
flea
him
bottom right
first.
back, it's not bad. Yeah, and you can flea bottom right back.
Yeah, you kneel him first, the sack
then-
him, flea
then
bottom
you-
back in,
then
and get
you-
the second direwolf.
Then you eat them. Then you do the Jesse play of Ghost of Harrenhal back. And it's like,
Wow, this is
Oh wait, you can.
I mean, I
like,
have seen
Sam.
I have
Sam
seen
Deck can
Sam
take over the world.
sacking
apparently.
him with
You can use
the
Grey Wind
North
like
Remember
4
North Remember?
times.
yes,
Yeah.
that is 100% accurate. Yes. And then at the end of those 4 times, you can sack Greywind and bounce their last remaining card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Greywind's insane.
Yes.
Oh, and then
I think-
reinforcements Greywood back in the next turn.
That's
There
right.
you go.
These are all
And then-
Jesse
Wow,
cards. Look
we
at
have
that.
derailed.
That's a good dude. I'm telling you, I think Greywind is the most underrated card in the game.
He's a good card.
He's
Oh,
I've seen
insane.
him do some nasty things. Yeah.
I mean,
Wait, why is Martel not? Oh, Martel only has 3 cards. I guess the box will fix that, right?
Yeah, that'd be all right. That'd be all right. I think
All right.
the box adds a
And one of
few
the 3
more
cards is
loyal
Green Blood
ones,
Trader.
but-
So,
And the other is Hota, who you're running multiples of too.
jeez,
Yeah,
yeah,
we get it. It's real scummy.
it's real scummy.
yeah.
Oh wait,
some
wait,
dumb
wait!
shit,
Isn't
as
that
my
new?
students would say.
Is that new 1-drop in Martel loyal or no?
The Planky Town Trader.
Yeah,
No,
I
it's
thought
not
that.
loyal, right?
It is
That's
not
the whole
loyal.
point.
No,
Oh,
Isn't the
it's
whole
loyal.
point of it that it interacts with non-Martel cards?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but
a bestow card. Yeah,
I promise you, that is one of my favorite Martel cards. It is not loyal.
All right. Now that we're talking about Planky Town Trader, we really have derailed ourselves. So we're just over an hour-ish, under an hour-ish, unless the chat is
Hey,
poppin' or lit, as the children
can
say.
somebody? What? Okay, last thing. I just want someone to Planky Town Trader, with 5 gold on them and Ramsey, then Valor, and like get that dupe mace that way. It's
Jeez.
like my life goal. So someone needs to make that happen.
I mean, Planky Town is how the Stark combo existed, or whatever, the Stark Alliance. So
yep, we're in the weeds.
Hey, but it's
Existed
a
as
combo
weird
deck
word
that-
for that deck.
River
know-
Run Minstrel like 15 times, dude. It's the nut.
He wins games, I hear.
It
CT was
is.
talking it up in Star
Somewhere,
Wars.
I'm sure.
somewhere games have been won.
Look, one day we're going to be living in a River Run Minstrel restricted list land, and you're all going to eat your laughter. You're all going to eat your laughter.
It'll be all minstrel. All minstrels will get put on the restricted list.
All right. Good night, ladies and gentlemen, sweet listeners. Thank you for joining us for this sort of emergency Second Sons episode. I hope you got something out of it. I enjoyed doing it. I want to thank Jesse for joining us at the last minute and doing an emergency episode with us. Our next episode, again, just to remind folks, is going to be April 3rd, 2018, right after Jesse's tournament. So we'll probably have a lot, since more than half of the people currently on the cast will be there. And yeah, it'll be a great time. So see everybody at Jesse's tournament. If not, you're square.
That's
Philip
right.
Buzz.
Reminder:
Yeah.
Roy